My opponents are going to have absolutely no idea what I'm doing this week. Hello, and today I have a brew for you. This is Carnage Clone Combo in Legacy. I actually saw this combo in another format on YouTube, and I knew I had to try to brew this in Legacy because it looks so sweet. So what this is we are trying to assemble a 3-card infinite combo that results in our opponent losing the game either by milling their library or bringing their life total to 0, whichever number starts out lower when this combo starts. So the way that we make this work is we need to get a Tinybones Joins Up on the battlefield. This is a 1-mana enchantment. When it enters any number of target players, each discard a card. Notably, this is any number of target players. We can force ourselves to discard a card, which will come up in a moment. The key part about this, though, is that whenever a legendary creature enters under your control, any number of target players each mill 1 card and lose 1 life. So we're really trying to take advantage of that second ability to get an infinite number of legendary creatures entering the battlefield under our control. So how do we do this? Well, we are doing this with Carnage Crimson Chaos, or as of right now, as it's known on Magic Online, DasSourKraut's Gift of Servitude. This is from the Spider-Man set. It is a legendary 4-mana, 4/3 that when it enters the battlefield, return a target creature card with mana value of 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. The second part of this doesn't matter because we're never going to be attacking with it. So what we're trying to do here is use DasSourKraut to get back one of our 3 or less mana clones. What this is going to do is DasSourKraut gets one of these clones back. The clone will copy DasSourKraut, which will then legend rule itself back into the graveyard. But because that's a state-based effect, we get another DasSourKraut trigger from the clone, which can then target the clone as long as we keep the original, because the clone is going to go back to having its normal mana value, whereas DasSourKraut couldn't normally target itself. So what this is going to do is it's going to create an infinite loop where we are constantly looping our clone in and out of the graveyard by legend ruling it and using the DasSourKraut's ability to trigger Tinybones an infinite number of times. So that is our loop to be able to end the game. To fuel this combo, we have a ton of card selection in the form of brainstorms, considers, ponders, and faithless lootings, because we need a key part of our combo in the graveyard to be able to do what we want to do. So we did focus on cantrips that actively put cards into the graveyard. We also have a full playset of reanimates to be able to get our DasSourKraut back. If it gets discarded, it gets countered. We need to get rid of it because we need other cards from our looting effects, and to add a little bit of extra redundancy. This is also a way to be able to reanimate one of our clones and get the combo started. If we had to play out a DasSourKraut early, or they remove the clone copy from the graveyard in response to the loop starting, to be able to re-trigger this loop. We also have some thought seizes for disruption, and as I mentioned, Tinybones allows you to discard cards. We can actually get a discount on DasSourKraut from its Mayhem ability, which if you discard this card, you may play it this turn for its Mayhem cost. So for a little bit tight on mana, we can actually get a bit of a discount on DasSourKraut, either by discarding it to Tinybones, discarding it to Faithless Looting, or even thought seizing it from our own hand. We also have a full playset of Force of Wills to be able to protect our combo or stop our opponent to buy us a little bit of time to get our combo up and running. Mana base is pretty much just a standard Grixis mana base. We do have 2 Surveil lands to smooth out our draws and to hopefully flip one of our clones into the graveyard for free. But this is a convoluted 3-part combo, but I'm hoping to catch our opponents off guard because it has so many weird cards that you wouldn't expect to see, and they're not going to know what we're actually trying to do until it's too late and we establish the combo and go for the win. The sideboard is very much a rough draft of just various things in the Grixis colors that I think will help out in various matchups. We have Boomerang basics to bounce problematic permanents such as a Grafdigger's Cage or a Leyline of the Void from the opponents, a Force of Negation to stop combo decks, Hexing Squelchers to bring in against blue decks to act as additional counterspell hate in addition to our Force of Wills, Collective Brutalities for small creature removal, additional discard to clear the way to make sure we can do our combo, and a little bit of extra reach if we ever have to go into the super backup plan of just beat down with a DasSourKraut and we need the extra 2 points of damage to be able to close the game out. A couple of Leyline of the Voids, just because graveyard decks are still all over the format, so we want to be prepared for those. Ashen Rider to be able to bring in up against the show and tell style decks, or we could have kind of a backdoor reanimator plan where we loot this into the graveyard and then reanimate it with one of our reanimates. Null Rod for the Tron and Artifact decks that are running around, and then Damping Sphere also to hate on those Tron style decks, and to be able to shut down Storm and spell-based combo decks as well. So if you like this video, do me a favor, drop a like and a comment below, and be sure to sub to the channel to know when my videos go live. And as an added bonus, whenever the channel hits 500 subs, to celebrate, I will offer everyone free donation deck lists for the following month. So if you want to see your deck played on the channel, make sure you hit that sub button if you haven't already. With that said, let's go confuse our opponents, play some Magic. Alright, round one. Let's see if we can get the Brewer's advantage today and try to make this deck work. I don't hate this. We've got a combo piece. We have Reanimate if our DasSourKraut gets countered. We have a cantrip and we've got Force of Wills. We do still need to find the other two combo pieces that only have 4 pieces each, but I think we're going to give this a shot. Since we have the Force of Wills, that can stop something super crazy from the opponent on turn 1 if they're in some kind of combo deck. And opponent is a Chancellor of the Annex. Okay, what does this mean for us? A Once Upon a Time. So I'm getting initiative vibes here. And we've got Nahiri trying to play Tug of War in the background. Caves of Chaos Adventurer. So initiative confirmed. Do you have the mana to blow this out turn 1? Cavern of Souls is problematic. Chromox. I probably should have countered that now that I think about it. But too late now. There goes the Chancellor. Okay, they don't have the mana to actually go off yet. If we can find a Thoughtseize, we can take the Caves of Chaos Adventure and try to reanimate it. And we hit a Tinybones Joins Up. So this might knock them off of the mana they need, or they might decide to discard an initiative threat that we can try to get back. We also could just Phantasmal Image copy their Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I think we're going to start with the Badlands. And I think we're going to Tinybones Joins Up and only target our opponent here. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Chancellor bubble. Oops, that was a mistake. Okay, that's fine. I completely forgot about the Chancellor bubble, and unfortunately that's one of our combo pieces we actually needed. Yeah, that was my bad. If they play another form of fast mana, I will counterspell it. Okay. Ancient Tomb. We can copy the Caves of Chaos Adventurer to take the initiative here. So we might just do that. Alright, they get the initiative, but we can steal it back, and then they kind of stare at each other. They can trample over to be able to get it back. Found a mountain, okay. And we hit a reanimate, so let's go ahead and play a Scalding Tarn, go grab a Undercity or Underground Sea. Unfortunately, we have no basics to get off of this, but we at least get the chance where if they want to swing in with the Caves of Chaos Adventurer, both of these die, we can go ahead and reanimate the Caves of Chaos Adventurer, and hopefully we can take over the game while our opponent doesn't really draw much of anything. Gonna tighten up this gameplay after that massive punt to start, but if they play anything counterable, we absolutely will Force of Will it. And we really don't care if this dies at all, because we're gonna need it in our graveyard eventually anyways. Alright, they are casting something that's a human. This is another Caves of Chaos Adventurer, yes. So they can get the initiative back, trample over us for 4. These die. We get another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh, they're going to put it on that one. Okay. Are they going to get in with their first Caves of Chaos Adventurer? Yes. Okay. Chancellor of the Annex. We will block to kill it. Take 2. We actually can just reanimate the Phantasmal Image now to get the initiative back and be able to block this. Okay. I don't hate where we're at. We also can consider here. And we hit a Thoughtseize. I think we're actually going to Thoughtseize them first, see if there's something better we can take. Okay, we definitely do not want them to have the Seasoned Dungeoneer here. And then we will reanimate the Phantasmal image to copy the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And then we will suit up our Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh, fuck. I'm a fucking dumbass. I forgot I have to sacrifice this if it becomes the target of a spell or an ability. Okay. We're getting the punts out of the way now. We will go to game 2. We have answers for this kind of stuff. So we're going to bring in Damping Sphere. We're going to bring in Boomerang Basics. I think we're going to trim a couple of Glasspool Mimics. They are the worst of our clone effects and our most redundant piece. And I think we might trim a couple of Reanimates because I'm anticipating some Graveyard Hate coming for the opponent. So we're just getting the punts out of the way early is all. So let's try that. Okay. So we have a bunch of clone effects and a Faithless Looting. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. Because we can kind of do the same thing we've been doing where we copy their initiative creatures. And we have 2 Glasspool Mimics we can easily chuck into the graveyard here. So we will play a Bloodstained Mire. We are going to go ahead and grab a Badlands here because black is our most important color. And we will play a Faithless Looting. A bunch of lands, so let's chuck the 2 Glasspool Mimics and call it good. I don't like that we don't have a Force of Will this time around, but the pause there made me think they might have a Surgical Extraction. Once upon a time. Okay. Cavern of Souls. We don't have counter magic, so I don't particularly care about that at the moment. Ancient Tomb into a Lotus Petal. Okay. And no 3-drop. Okay. I would not hate a discard spell here. We hit a Consider. Well, let's play a Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. We'll probably go grab an Undercity Sewers here. Because, yep, there's the Cavern of Souls. On human. Looks like a Caves of Chaos Adventure again. Yep. Alright. Caves of Chaos Adventure. Initiative is started. We have 2 clone effects, though, so we can kind of try to do some stuff here. We can let them get their basic. That's fine. Alright, we will go grab a Undercity Sewers here to get our Surveil on. A Brainstorm. I don't hate that, so we're actually going to go ahead and keep that. Then we're going to play a Volcanic. Play a Phantasmal Image. Copy the Caves of Chaos Adventure. Get the initiative. We have no basics to find. But this stops them from immediately forging up their Caves of Chaos Adventure, and we have Consider and Brainstorm available to us to try to find something to do. Looks like another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. It is. Okay, that is fine. We have another Phantasmal Image to be able to copy their Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Are they going to Lost Wall or are they going to forge up here? They're going to forge up. Going on the one that can attack, that's fine. They flip a Under Mountain Adventurer. Well, we will block because we want clones in the graveyard. We will take 2. Alright, so they do lose that Caves of Chaos Adventure. I just had to double check the wording there, and we will go ahead and consider. A Tinybones Joins Up. We will put that on top of our library. And we hit a Reanimate, so we could actually just reanimate the Phantasmal Image and then get another trigger off of this. I actually like that quite a bit. We're going to start out with an Underground Sea. We will play our Tinybones Joins Up, make our opponent discard a card, see if they got something better to reanimate than our Phantasmal Image. They been to Once Upon a Time. Alright, so I think what we're going to do here is we're going to reanimate the Caves of Chaos Adventure from our opponent's graveyard. If they have a Surgical Extraction, they need to get their own Surgical, but they don't. Okay. Then we are going to go ahead and forge this one up. And then we are going to play a Phantasmal Image to copy our Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And then we are going to trap our opponent. And then basically, we actually kind of just want to try to hang on to the initiative as long as possible if we can here. We will double block their Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Because if we can hit Throne of the Dead 3, if we just find DasSourKraut, we win the game. Alright, they're going to combat. They are getting in. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, Minsk and Boo. Well, we are 100% going to double block the fuck out of this to keep the initiative. And they can choose which one of these they want to kill, because they can only kill one. Okay, they kill the real one. That's fine. Do they have another initiative creature, or do they want to blow their Lotus Petal to play the Minskin Boo? It looks like they're playing the Minskin Boo. Okay. And then are they going to throw the Boo at the Caves of Chaos Adventurer to kill it? No. They're just going to put some counters on it. That's mostly fine. We get to draw an extra card. We hit a Tinybones Joins Up off of that draw. And then we hit a Scalding Tarn. Let's start out with a Brainstorm. See if we can just find our DasSourKraut. We have a Phantasmal Image, so I actually like that quite a bit. I think we are going to go ahead and get rid of the Scalding Tarn and the Tinybones Joins Up. Thoughtseize the opponent real quick here. Make sure they don't randomly have a Surgical Extraction in their hand or something. They just have a whole bunch of initiative creatures, so I don't think it matters which one we take here. We'll just take a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Then we are going to... Like, the weird part is this Caves of Chaos Adventurer here is literally about to die, but we are trying to see if we can hit a DasSourKraut off of... Okay, that doesn't actually target, so never mind. We go into the Throne of the Dead 3. We are literally just looking for a DasSourKraut here. We go 10 deep. Can we find a DasSourKraut? No. We find a Phantasmal Image. So I guess we grab the Phantasmal Image and keep going through the Undercity and kind of just hope for the best here. And then we will go ahead and attack the Minskin Boo because we cannot afford it to throw something at our face here. And, oh, we lose. Wait, I can play this for free. Never mind. I think we win here. I forgot that we can cast this for free. Okay, so now we're going to get to actually see the full-on combo here. And we have multiple clone effects in the graveyard. We will cast DasSourKraut, and now the fun begins. But now our opponent also knows that we are a graveyard deck. So we are going to DasSourKraut, target the Phantasmal Image, Tinybones Joins Up, target the opponent, and then to make this a little bit easier, save targets, always yield, and then we will always yield to the DasSourKraut trigger. The clone will come back. We have the clone copy DasSourKraut. We keep the real DasSourKraut. It legend rules a clone into the graveyard, and then we just repeat this loop until our opponent is dead. Copy DasSourKraut, keep the original DasSourKraut, target the clone. Okay, so we're seeing a little bit more of their deck. They do have Archons. Alright, looks like our opponent finally F6 and is letting this loop just happen. So we do need to worry about Archons in subsequent games. And a couple cycles of the combo through, and we pick up game 2 after massively punting game 1. Okay, but our opponent does now know we are a graveyard deck. So we do need to worry about that. We could bring in the Force Negation to be able to stop a Minskin Boo, but I don't think I'm super interested in that. There's something to be said about bringing more Reanimates in as well. I'm not sure these Dampen Spears are really actually doing that much. They'll be able to get their stuff down way faster than we can, so I think we're going to bring in the Force Negation and bring one more Reanimate back in, because we did see just reanimating their stuff works. So let's try this. We could also actually bring in Ashen Rider as a backup, like, oh shit button. That definitely is something we could do. I don't know if it's really worth it, though. It can kill an early initiative threat. I actually think we might... I think we are actually going to take the Force of Negation now. All it's really going to be hitting is a Minskin Boo, so I think we're actually going to try the Ashen Rider tech. Normally this is for Sneak and Show style matchups, but I'm going to try here and see how it goes. Alright, Force of Will, Boomerang Basics, Ponder, a Phantasmal Image. I think we're going to keep this. Alright, opponent kept on 6. No Chancellor Bubble. A Once Upon a Time. Okay. Into an Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb down. A Chrome Box. Okay, so nothing is uncounterable at this point. Threw an Undercity Adventurer under that, and a Simian Spirit Guide into an Undercity, or Undermountain Adventurer. We are going to go ahead and just Force of Will this. And do we want to get rid of the Phantasmal Image or Boomerang Basics? I think we're going to get rid of the Boomerang Basics here. They have one card in hand. And we have access to a Ponder. If they manage to get a initiative threat down as a follow-up, then we can just copy it. Or we can just Thoughtseize them and put them into top deck mode, which I actually don't hate at all. And it is a Chalice of the Void. Okay. So they're in top deck mode. They can't cast any of the 3-drops in their deck. And we hit a Tinybones Joins Up. I like that. If we can find red mana off of this Ponder, we can go for the combo next turn. We hit a Badlands, a DasSourKraut, and an Underground Sea. Okay. We will do Underground Sea, DasSourKraut, and Badlands. We will not shuffle. And we could play Tinybones Joins Up right now. But I think we're going to wait just to be safe here. So, like, what we're going to want to do is basically we're going to play DasSourKraut. Okay, hard casting a Once Upon a Time here. Found an Undermountain Adventurer. That's actually fine. They still need mana to cast that, which they have. Okay, so I don't think I actually care about this at the moment. Okay, so they get the initiative. They get a basic off of this. We basically just need to fade one turn. And we can kind of just go off. Okay, so we're going to draw DasSourKraut here. We play a Badlands. We know that there's a land next turn. I think what we're going to do here is we are going to Tinybones Joins Up, target both of us, make them lose that land. We get a DasSourKraut into the graveyard, which we can then pay for its mayhem cost. And make them mill whatever their next card is, and hopefully it's something good. It was a City of Traders. I would have preferred if they cast that. But basically, we just let this thing hit us. Oh, they're just going to forge it up. They're going for maximum damage here. Okay, so they're not trying to smooth out their draw at all. They can play another initiative creature. I don't care. All right, they're getting in with the Underbound Adventurer. That's totally fine. We will take our hit. We are going to just cast the Phantasmal Image and then go for the combo. So they have something they can't cast in hand, or it's a Surgical Extraction. But we're going to play an Underground Sea, cast a Phantasmal Image, and it looks like they have no response. Keep the original, target the Phantasmal Image, target them, save targets, always yield. Always yield, and this looks like the win to me. And we go through the loop again. Sorry I'm being a little quiet during going through this combo. I'm trying to make sure I don't misclick anything. Because if I misclick, it breaks up the combo, and then we lose the match. And a few more cycles through, and we take down our first match with Carnage combo. Holy shit, on the board already. Let's keep that going. Alright, round 2. Lost to die roll. Up against Death from Above. I recognize this name. I'm not super sure what they play. This hand has a couple of combo pieces and a little bit of selection here, but it has no interaction if they're on some kind of combo deck. They kept 7 cards. I think we're going to keep and hope that our cantrips can get us where we need to go. Great Furnace, Lotus Petal. Is this Painter? Mox Opal. Some kind of artifact-y, combo-y deck of some sort. Okay, so it is Painter. That's a Goblin Welder. They do have, and an Emery. Okay, interesting. They do typically have like Soul Guide Lantern and some other graveyard hate spells, but they don't have anything at the moment. We also could copy their Goblin Welder to fuck with them, but I think we're going to play a Valk and pass the turn, probably just consider. Okay, Urza Saga's problematic. We gotta find the win before they pop off with that, or hold back long enough that they go grab something they don't actually need off of it. But Consider is going to show them they need to prioritize hitting the graveyard, I think. So let's cast Consider after they get in with their Goblin Welder. There's a Force of Will. I don't know if that's going to do it, because they can just loop shit with this Goblin Welder. I think we're going to bin that, hit a Ponder. We need to find a Tinybones Joins Up ASAP. So I think we are going to go ahead and Faithless Looting. There's a Reanimate. Well, we can chuck Phantasmal Image. And I think we're going to chuck Brainstorm here. Play the Underground Sea. Play a Ponder. We're just looking for a Tinybones Joins Up. None of these are what we're looking for here. So we'll any order this. Shuffle. And another Faithless Looting. Okay. Urza Saga goes up. Into another Urza Saga. Okay, we have one turn to find our gap here. Making a construct. Getting in with the Welder. Okay. So we do technically have enough mana if we hit a land and a Tinybones Joins Up between our draw step and this Faithless Looting. We hit a Glasspool Mimic. Alright, well, we need this. That's Tinybones Joins Up and a land. So we will chuck DasSourKraut, Glasspool Mimic, play a Scalding Tarn, play Tinybones Joins Up. They appear to be F6. We will make them discard one of their last two cards. There is a world that they like randomly have a Metallic Rebuke here. Chuck the Mox Opal. Crack our Tarn. We need black mana. Let's round out our colors with the Badlands. And we will reanimate DasSourKraut and hope whatever their last card is doesn't affect anything. And it doesn't seem like it does. So game one, and we've got our combo. And they do have Welder Cam in their deck. So this isn't just straight Painter. This is the Welder Cam combo. Okay, and opponent doesn't make us click through it. Thank you, Death from Above, because that was going to take a while, but they're also hiding information from their deck, so it makes sense. They are a artifact deck, so No Rod's in. They're a graveyard deck, Leyline's in. There's something to be said about Damping Spheres as well. Boomerang Basics also might not be a bad idea here. And with that being said, they saw that we have Graveyard Shenanigans, so I think we're going to take out some number of Reanimates just because they're going to be bringing Graveyard Hate against it. And then we brought in two blue cards. We can take out two Glasspool Mimics. They dumped their hand pretty quickly. I think we can take out two Thoughtseizes. And I think we give this a shot and see what kind of sideboard hate they bring in. Okay, we've got a Force of Will, we got a Reanimate, we got a Leyline to the Void. Unfortunately, we don't have any cantrips or anything, or blue mana for our cantrips. We're going to keep and trust that we find blue mana. And opponent went to 6, and we will throw a Leyline in to shut down their Emery and Welder shenanigans. Into a Goblin Welder right off the bat. Into a Bobble. Into a Petal. None of this is currently worth forcing at the moment. A 1/1 Goblin Welder is not scary when they don't have access to a graveyard. And we found our blue mana, so we'll play the Valk. And we'll start out with a Ponder. DasSourKraut, Scalding Tarn, Underground Sea. I think we're going to go C, draw DasSourKraut next turn, draw the Scalding Tarn for right now. And that's 2 of our 3 combo pieces, and all that's left is the easy-to-find combo piece. Valk into an Urza's Bauble, that's fine. Going to target us. They see the Tinybones Joins Up. 3 mana for a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. I think we can survive that for a little while. We're looking for the most common piece of our combo here, and I'm worried about them having something like a Surgical Extraction. So we're going to take our hits for just a little bit here. So play the Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. We probably will consider red mana into a Skateboard. Okay. Well, we'll float some blue mana. That's fine. And since we have 2 Surveils here, equipping the Skateboard, that's fine. They're just trying to go aggro at the moment. Do I want the mana at the moment? No. I think I'm good on mana. We'll put that in the graveyard. Well, we hit more mana anyways. We'll go ahead and Surveil. Probably grab the Undercity Sewers here. Move to end step. I would love to just see a clone go into the graveyard off of this Undercity Sewers here. A Leyline of the Void. We don't want that. Get rid of it. Show me a clone? No. Okay, well that's a little annoying, but we will play our Scalding Tarn. We're about to take 6, 7. So the Reanimate line is off, but we can just cast the DasSourKraut. Okay, well, we're hoping that we can find a clone off of the Surveil, and then we can just do our thing. Urza's Bauble, okay. Into another Goblin Welder, okay. Moving the Skateboard over, okay. They reveal the Underground Sea. Take our damage. We are down to 4. And then we need to find a clone to bin off of this Surveil land here, because we'll grab the Raucous Theater. Just show me a clone deck. That is not a clone. Put that in the graveyard. I need a Faithless Looting or a clone style effect here. That is a Faithless Looting, so we need to find a clone off of this Faithless Looting is basically what this comes down to. Nullrod, Tinybones joins up. Yep, could not find it. Oh, nope, we're going to find it with the next card anyways. Okay, we actually had a really good shot there. We just couldn't find the clone effect, which is funny because we got 6 of them in the deck, but I think we're just going to run it back. Leyline, Faithless Looting, and some Force of Wills. I think we're going to keep this. Put the Leyline out, make sure they don't have shenanigans. And then we are going to go ahead and play a Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. We're going to go grab a Surveil Land off of this. Urza's Saga. Okay, that's mildly problematic. Because they can go get Graveyard Hate off of that. We do have Boomerang Basics. A Chromatic Star, that's fine. Into a Mox Opal, okay. Into a Welder. Again, the Welders aren't scary if they don't have access to the graveyard. We will go grab a Surveil Land here. We will do Raucous Theater. Into a Brainstorm. I think we will keep that. And we will play a Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. We need to get some crazy hits off of these draws here. So I actually am going to go ahead and Brainstorm End Step just for velocity's sake. Ooh, not even bothering to attack. Interesting. We will grab a Underground Sea and Brainstorm. A Tinybones Joins Up and 2 lands. Okay. Well, we will put the lands back. We draw one of the lands. We will play Bloodstained Mire, crack the Bloodstained Mire. We already have a Volk, so I think we're going to grab Badlands here. Play Faithless Looting. Boomerang Basics and a Tinybones Joins Up. Okay. Chuck Volk and Tinybones Joins Up. And then we will pass the turn. We have the Boomerang Basics to be able to bounce the Graveyard Hate when we need to. But we are going to have to deal with these Construct tokens. So we're going to need to find the win very quickly. Okay, not making a second Construct token. Oh, they found a Haywire Mite. Interesting. Are they... Oh, they're just blowing up my Leyline. Okay. Into a Goblin Engineer. Well, we absolutely have to Force a Will that. Because we cannot afford to let them tutor something into the graveyard here. And they just have another one. This goes and grabs Welder. They have 1 card in hand. I guess they have infinite draw. Yeah, Surveillance Cam. They can get infinite draw off of... Oh, they're just going to do the Mox Opal. So I'm pretty sure this is 100% infinite mana. And then they can keep looping the Chromatic Star, so infinite draw. So yeah, they have this. It's just going to take them a really long time. I'm not going to force them to click through it, but super close. I'm surprised. We would have had game 2 there if it weren't for the fact that we couldn't find our clone effect, but good game, opponent. On to the next round. Finally, we're on a die roll here in round 3 up against Urza the Planeswalker. I know I played against this person before, but I have no idea what they're on. We have a Force of Will, a couple of Mimics, and a Brainstorm. Our mana's pretty good, but we're relying extremely heavily on this Brainstorm and this Force of Will doing some work here. I think we're going to keep it and trust the deck here. Alright, opponent took a long time to consider their 7 and then decided to keep it. Hopefully we're not up against someone who's double queuing, but we'll start out on Volcanic. Just in case they happen to be on a Wasteland-style deck, and we will Brainstorm End Step for velocity's sake. Verdant Catacombs, okay. Into a Bayou. Into a Sylvan Safekeeper. Well, we don't care about that because we don't have any targeted removal main deck. And then we are going to go ahead and Brainstorm End Step. Multiple Glasspool Mimics and a Consider. We will put back 2 of the Glasspool Mimics. We will draw 1, play the Scalding Tarn. We are going to go ahead and grab a Surveil Land off of this and then Consider. Alright, so this looks like either Turbo Depths or Cradle Control, and it looks like Cradle Control. I actually care about White of the Reliquary quite a bit, because that can go grab a Bojuka Bog. So we're going to go ahead and counter that. Get in with the Safekeeper, that's fine. And we will crack our Scalding Tarn, go grab a Raucous Theater. And that is a Desecrate, so we actually want to keep that on top of our library. Then we will draw. We will start out with a Consider. And that is a Tinybones Joins Up, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. And then we will play a Underground Sea. We will cast Tinybones Joins Up, targeting both of us to get the Glasspool Mimic into the graveyard. And then we just have to survive a turn. And, okay, they dumped a Windswept Heath. If we survive a turn, we play the Desecrex and we get the combo going. So I'd love to see them just tap out for, like, another Knight of the Reliquary or something. Savannah, okay, so they have white. Into a Severance Priest. Okay, so they're going to be able to exile our Desecrex. That's unfortunate. And we have no way to kill the Severance Priest, unfortunately. So we need to find another Desecrex. That is a Thoughtseize. We will play the Badlands, pass the turn. We're holding on to this Thoughtseize until we can go for the combo so that we can Thoughtseize to make sure there's not some kind of counter to it in their hand. So this is like some kind of Maverick-y deck. Interesting. All right, post move to combat. Getting in. Into another Severance Priest to take my other Thoughtseize. Okay. Desecrex are a way to find it off at the top here. Come on. And a Bossing Say. That is a Desecrex. And let's see if you have 0 mana graveyard hate. I suppose if they have a crop rotation, that could do it too, but this doesn't seem like a crop rot style deck here. And opponent appears to be F6'd. They are. Okay, so we managed to pick up game 1. See a little bit more of their deck. Okay, we had a feeling they had Bajuka Bog. Alright, opponent scoops it up before showing any more of their deck here, so... yeah, this looks like kind of a Abzan Maverick Cradle Control hybrid, which is interesting. So against what our opponent's doing here, I think we want Boomerang Basics and probably the Collective Brutalities. I think we're going to trim some number of Reanimates. And then I think we're going to trim 2 Glasspool Mimics here. Be able to try to bounce in a graveyard hate that they have. Collective Brutality to try to strip removal spells out of their hand, or a Surgical that can break up our combo here. So let's try something like this, I guess. Okay, I like this quite a bit. We can go ahead and keep this. All right, no Leyline in the Void from the opponent here. I like that. A Once Upon a Time. Okay. For an Ignoble Hierarch, Misty Rainforest, Bayou. Playing the Ignoble. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to fight over mana dorks. That is totally fine. We hit a Collective Brutality. Well, we will play Volcanic and Ponder. Looking for land drops at the moment. Alright, I like that. We get a Desecrex, Underground Sea, Undercity Sewers. Take the Undercity Sewers. We'll draw the Underground Sea next turn. And then we can play Undercity Sewers, bin the 3rd Desecrex. Or we can play the Underground Sea and Collective Brutality if we need to, and then we just deal with the fact that we have 3 Desecrexes. A Thoughtseize? Yeah, that's fine. They'll probably just take the Force of Will here. Like, it's not worth forcing this, because if their other plan is to go ahead and Thoughtseize, take the Desecrex, try to Surgical Extract it, we can protect it with the Force and the Consider. Took the Consider, okay. Into a Noble Hierarch. Are they missing lands? No. Talon Gates, okay. Phasing out the Ignoble Hierarch, that's fine. Since they took the Consider, we might actually Faithless Looting here just to clear the top of our deck. And we hit another Consider and a Desecrex. Well, let's throw the 2 Desecrexes in the graveyard. And we will play Underground Sea, holding up Consider or Force of Will if we need it. A Once Upon a Time, okay, that's fine. Grabbed a Knight of the Reliquary. Unfortunately, I think we got a Force of Will this one. Because that can go get a Bajuka Bog. And a Bossing Say. Okay. And we hit a Reanimate. We could reanimate their white, or we could just reanimate a Desecrex. I think we're going to play Undercity Sewers. See what we find here. A Thoughtseize. Do I want a Thoughtseize? I don't think I do. I think we actually are going to get back a Desecrex here and pivot into the beatdown plan. And this allows us so that if we get a clone effect, we can just cast it, start the loop on the battlefield. And this protects the Desecrex that's on the battlefield from being taken out by Surgicals in the graveyard. This also gives us a free chuck with this Desecrex to the Collective Brutality if we need it. Bayou from the opponent. Green Sun Zenith for 3. So this could be like a Severance Priest, like we saw in game 1. Yes, okay. It is a Severance Priest. They'll probably take our Collective Brutality. Yes, they do. Okay. And that's totally fine. We could just attack in with the DasSourKraut. They block with the Severance Priest. We get our Collective Brutality back. We hit a land. We could try to Faithless Looting here. I think we're going to. See if we can find our missing combo pieces. Chuck DasSourKraut and Scalding Tarn. Play Underground Sea. And then get rid of their last card in hand, and we just need a clone effect and we can win. We will just have them discard whatever that last card in hand is. And then we just need to find a clone effect and we can win. It was a Once Upon a Time. Okay. We will pass the turn. We're not going to give up our DasSourKraut. We're literally just a clone away from being able to win. And opponent's getting in for 5. That's fine. We will not block. We will take our 5. And they're going to Earthbend the Talon Gates of Madara. Do they have a way to sacrifice it to phase out something? Well, we hit another DasSourKraut, which is a little unfortunate. So, unfortunately, I think we are passing the turn here. Do I want to get in an attack? I'm not fucking blocking, so I might as well. They can't kill this DasSourKraut. And this probably gets their Talon Gates to bop in and out already. Nope, they just take it. Okay. So we got one more draw step to find a way to find a clone effect. Thoughtseize. Okay, yep. You can take the DasSourKraut I have in hand. That's fine. There's nothing I can do here. I need to find a clone, and hopefully I can win. So cantrips, an actual clone, any of that, in theory, can get us there. We're getting it for 5 with Severance Priest. That's fine. And a Birds of Paradise is their last card. Okay, just show me a clone or a cantrip that can find me a clone. Clone? Tinybones Joins Up. That does not do it, unfortunately. Okay. So, I don't think we actually want to change anything. Maybe we just take the Reanimates out entirely, bring 2 more Glasspool Mimics in, but I actually don't like that. I think we're just going to run it back. We just didn't find a clone is all. We still got 6 of them in the deck. It was a fine amount. I think that was just bad luck, but alright, let's try it again. No lands. Gotta ship it. Okay, I like this. I think we are going to probably put back the Boomerang Basics. Or maybe we keep the Boomerang Basics, we put back the Brainstorm. Yeah, I think we're going to put the Brainstorm back for now. We will start out with the Undercity Sewers. And a Consider, I think we're going to go ahead and throw that in the graveyard for now. Misty from the opponent. Bayou. Into a Ignoble Hierarch, that's fine. We hit another Force of Will. We can play Badlands, pass the turn. We will Consider on their end step. Thoughtseize. I think we're going to Consider. See if we actually want to counter this or not. With a Tinybones Joins Up, I think we are. And we will go ahead and counter this, pitching the Boomerang Basics. Ooh, double Thoughtseize. Okay, do they go after the Tinybones Joins Up, or do they go after the Faithless Looting? Correct answer is the Tinybones Joins Up, but they might try to take us off of our cantrips. Ooh, they did take the Faithless Looting. Okay. Do you have a third Thoughtseize opponent? No, white mana. Into a Birds of Paradise. Okay. And we draw a Thoughtseize of our own, so we will start out with a Tinybones Joins Up, make you discard a card, and they chuck a Dryad Arbor, and then we will go ahead and Thoughtseize you. A Natural Order. Okay, I'm glad we sniped that. All they have is the Talon Gates. They know all we have is a Force of Will at the moment. Ooh, White of the Reliquary. That's bad. Because that can get the Majuka Bog at any time. Not bothering to phase anything out. Okay. We draw Brainstorm, so let's Brainstorm. Collective Brutality, DasSourKraut. Well, we will put back Force of Will and DasSourKraut. We will play the Underground Sea. This is currently a 3-3, so I can't actually kill it. I can kill the Ignoble if I want to, but I think... what do I want to do here? I think we're just going to pass the turn. We know we're drawing a DasSourKraut next turn. We could also just flash back Faithless Looting next turn. Try to move through our deck a little bit. This having Vigilance is annoying, I'm not going to lie. They might also just pop it to get the Faithless Looting out of our graveyard. A Windswept Heath, okay. Swacking in 4/4. Or are they going to make it more? No. Okay. They can go get a Dryad Arbor with this if they want to. I think we're just going to flashback Faithless Looting here, try to set up, see if we can bait this White of the Reliquary somehow, or find a way to bounce it. Another Tinybones Joins Up and a Force of Will, so I think we're going to chuck those. Pass the turn, unfortunately. Cracking their Windswept Teeth. And sacrificing their birds. Are they going to clear our graveyard out now? No. Grabbing a Bossing Say. So this allows them to be able to Earthbend the Talon Gates and then loop it out. Yeah, I think this one slipped away. Maybe I shouldn't have cut some clones out of the deck, but we knew this was going to be a rough one, but it's putting up a surprisingly good fight overall. And opponent's getting in for 5. And passing the turn. Okay. We hit a Consider. Well, let's start out with that. A DasSourKraut. Well, we'll put that in our graveyard. We draw a Thoughtseize. I think we're just going to get the DasSourKraut back. Oh, right, we didn't discard it, so that doesn't count for Mayhem. I think we're going to Collective Brutality to kill their Ignoble Hierarch and gain us a little bit of a life just to try to get us a 1-turn buffer here. So kill the Ignoble, drain them, and we are going to chuck the Thoughtseize. They can always pop this Ignoble to the white to go grab something else, but just trying to give us a little bit of a buffer to try to buy 1 turn to figure out what we can do to get out of this. But I do not think there's any one card that gets us out of this, unfortunately. Alright, well, they're grabbing their Bojuka Bog now. I suppose they could Earthbend the Bojuka Bog so that they can reuse it. But we will see. I think a Faithless Looting into the actual nuts is the only way to get out of this, and for the opponent to mess up and not Earthbend that Bojuka Bog. And casting an Endurance. Okay. Getting rid of my Collective Brutality. This puts me to 1 on the attack. Unless I have another creature they can cast to be able to sacrifice. Alright, they are Earthbending the Bojuka Bog, so they did see the line. It has haste. Yeah, we're dead. Okay. I forgot that gave the stuff haste anyways, but yeah. Considering this seems like an extremely rough matchup, that was actually super, super close. Okay, on to the next round. Okay, Yorion. So this could be Yorion Death and Taxes, which is going to be very difficult, or it could be the, Yorion 5-color pile stuff. That said, I like this hand. We're going to go ahead and keep this. We have clones to check in the graveyard. Okay, there's blue mana, so it looks like it's probably the Yorion value pile, or it might be a blue splash for Death and Taxes. And we hit a Reanimate. We're going to start out with a Scalding Tarn, and I think we're just going to go get a Surveil land here. Into a Brainstorm, okay. Yeah, I think we're just going to grab a Surveil land. If we can find a DasSourKraut and just bin it into the yard, we actually have a turn 2 combo that's protected. So I like that quite a bit. So we're going to go grab our Undercity Sewers here. Windswept Teeth, yeah, this is definitely the 5-color Yorion pile. Oh, let's crack our Scalding Tarn. If they randomly have Stifle, I'd be very upset here, but we will grab Undercity Sewers. Show me a DasSourKraut. A Volcanic Island. I think we're going to put that into the graveyard. A Consider, so we will play a Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Opponent cracks their Windswept Teeth. Into a Hedge Maze to Surveil, okay. Kept whatever was on top, okay. And opponent is cycling a Lorien Revealed, that's fine. So I think end step we're going to Consider and then grab a Surveil land. Underground Sea. Into a flow state that is turned on. That is not our fight. We need to protect our combo, not try to stop our opponent from doing what they're doing. And opponent's passing the turn. So we will go ahead and Consider. We do have to worry about Endurance as well, I think. A Glasspool Mimic. I think we can throw that in the yard. We draw a Ponder. We will go grab our Raucous Theater here. Another Consider. Yeah, I think we're going to throw that in the yard. And we hit a Badlands. Let's go ahead and Ponder. Double Reanimate and a Volcanic Island. We need to shuffle that. We hit another Phantasmal Image. I think we are going to go ahead and play a Badlands. And I think we're going to pass the turn from here. Savannah from the opponent. Putting Yorion in hand. Okay. We hit a Volk, so I think we are going to go ahead and play the Volcanic Island. Let's just make them discard something here. We have 2 of these, That resolves. We are both going to discard. I am going to put one of my clone effects into the graveyard. See what they're willing to chuck here. They bend an Otawara. Okay. Leovold, Emissary of Trest. I think I'm just going to have to deal with that, unfortunately. And I'm guessing this is a prismatic ending to take out the Tinybones Joins Up? Luckily, we have another one. No. Okay, they were tapping mana, then played a Misty. We hit a Scalding Tarn. Well, let's go ahead and play this. We're actually going to run out the Phantasmal Image and copy their Leovold. We will just copy the Leovold. And then we could do this is whenever you or a permanent you control, you may draw a card. Well, this is going to be card neutral. So I actually think I'm okay with this. They will draw a card, and then they will lose a card and lose 1 life. And they have a Swords to Plowshares. So this is really fucking weird. So they're going to prevent each other from drawing, then I'm going to get prevented from drawing, and then they're going to get a card? Is this worth a Force of Will to try to just keep this around? Honestly, it might be. Okay, well, this is interesting. Oh, it was going to die anyways because it became a target. Never mind. I'm so bad at remembering that's how that works. And then I guess we're just going to reanimate this Glasspool Mimic. Or the Phantasmal Image. Get the Leovold. So this does actually get them to discard a card now. And they discarded a Brainstorm. That was a very, very strange stack there. Cracked their fetch, found a Meticulous Archive. I keep forgetting the Phantasmal Image still has that. When it becomes a target, it automatically sacrifices itself. I'm so not used to playing with that card. And opponent found another Prismatic Ending. Oh, it still lets you draw? Oh, can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Okay, I see how it works. Okay. Unfortunately, with this Leovold, though, if we do pop off with a combo, they're going to get to draw every time they mill. So it might draw them into an answer in a way to break up the combo. A Grist the Hunger Tide. Okay. And gonna make an Insect. I would like to see them just mill their last 2 Swords to Plowshares and hope they don't have, like, Solitude. And a Wasteland. Okay. This would be a perfect time for DasSourKraut to just try to go off. Or we can try to reanimate a Phantasmal Image again. And just try to keep this up, because they're going to have to target the... Okay, so that allows them to draw a card, but it drains them 1 life and mills them a card. So it still ends up being card neutral. Yeah, I think we still just do it. You draw a card, then you lose a card. Chuck the Flow State, okay. And they can't kill this with Grist, but they have to take it down. And I get a card off of it. Alright, they are doing that, so we're going to get a card off of this. Alright, Underground Sea is not what we want to see here. We literally just want to see a DasSourKraut. And hope their opponent somehow has no interaction. Alright, taking out my Undercity Sewers, that's fine. We hit another Tinybones Joins Up. So, unfortunately, we're past the turn, and I think we have 1 turn realistically to get out of this. And an Endurance, yeah, we have 1 turn to find an answer to get out of this. But it's probably going to draw them into an answer for the combo. And we hit a Glasspool Mimic. Okay, that was interesting. This seems like the absolute nightmare matchup. Though, against what our opponent's doing here, we want Boomerang Basics in. I think we want Ashen Rider in to try to reanimate it to blow up their, like, Leovold and shit. I didn't see Counter Magic, so I don't really know if I need Hexen Squelcher, but they definitely have blue, so I'm assuming they do. Bringing all of this stuff in. We could Collective Brutality, but their creatures are going to be too big for us to kill, and it looks like they're mostly a creature-focused deck. I think since we're bringing Hexen Squelchers in, we can probably take the Force of Wills out, but then they're able to run rampant over whatever we're doing here. Maybe I don't want the Hexen Squelchers. I think I might take those out. I think we're going to trim a little bit of the Reanimate stuff just because they're going to bring in Graveyard Hate. And then I think we're actually going to go ahead and trim 1 Brainstorm, as weird as that sounds. For once, I'm not going to trim the clone effects, or actually, no, I will trim 1 clone effect. I'll trim the Glasspool Mimic. I really don't know how to sideboard with this against this matchup. This was not something I had in my mind when I was crafting this, but let's try this, I guess. Okay, I don't hate this. We'll keep. Our opponent kept on 7. We will play a Bloodstained Mire and pass. We'll probably go grab an Undercity Sewers here. We can emergency consider if we need to. Tundra from the opponent. Passes the turn. Alright, so we will go grab a Undercity Sewers here. A Volcanic Island. I think we're good on lands at the moment. We hit a Ponder. Let's start out with that. Tinybones, DasSourKraut, and Force of Will. So we actually have everything we want here. So I think we're going to go DasSourKraut, Tinybones, Force of Will, take the Force of Will, play the Scalding Tarn, pass the turn, and opponent's going to Brainstorm. Okay. Windswept Teeth from the opponent. Okay. So we are going to draw the DasSourKraut, or draw the Tinybones. We are going to start off with a Consider because we know we want the DasSourKraut that's on top. Keep that on top. Draw that. Play a Bloodstained Mire. And then we can Tinybones here to get the Glasspool Mimic into the graveyard. So we will crack the Bloodstained Mire, go grab a Badlands, cast the Tinybones Joins Up, make us both discard, and we will chuck a Glasspool Mimic. They've been an Uro. We could Thoughtseize here just to see what's going on and see if they have multiple layers of protection, but we kind of need the Thoughtseize for our own card. So I think we're going to wait. We have the Force of Will as protection, and opponent's going to Brainstorm. Okay. Because the thing is if we Thoughtseized here, we absolutely need to hit a land off the top. Cracks the Windswept Teeth to clear that Brainstorm. Into a Surveil. Kept whatever it was on top. I am worried about them just snapping off a Prismatic Ending on this, but it looks like they're just passing the turn here. So this could be an Endurance. We will go grab our other Surveil land here. A Faithless Looting. I actually like that, so we will keep that on top. Because if we can find a land off of this Faithless Looting draw, then we can also Thoughtseize as well. And we hit a land. Okay, so unfortunately, this does mean we either lose Force of Will or lose Thoughtseize. How many answers do they have over there is the question. Do we want to Thoughtseize here is the question. Well, we're definitely pitching DasSourKraut. I think we're banking on Force of Will here. Well, actually, no. I've been DasSourKraut, been Force of Will, play the land. I can Thoughtseize, Force of Will in response. Never mind. I am way overthinking this. And then I just need to make sure I go grab a black land here. Go grab a Underground Sea. Thoughtseize the opponent. See how many layers of protection they have over there. They have a Source of Plowshares, a Consigned Memory that they can copy, and a Brainstorm. So we need to take the Consign because we can Force of Will the Swords to Plowshares. Okay. And then we just got to hope that their Brainstorm doesn't emergency find anything to be able to stop this. They do have Caracas, so we need to worry about that. All right, they're popping off the Brainstorm now. Okay. We just need them to whiff on this Brainstorm, I think. Well, they didn't instantly find an answer because they're pondering this Brainstorm for a while. It's not an instant, okay, I need the Force of Will, or I need the second removal spell right off of the bat. All right, let's see if they found it. Okay, they didn't find a Force of Will. Either that or they're saving it for my Force of Will. And we are going to start the combo. Save targets. Always yield. There is the swords we know about. And here's our Force of Will. Did you find an answer? Oh, they did find the Force. Ugh. Okay. And there's nothing for the Mimic to copy, so it goes back to the graveyard. But we did run them out of a bunch of stuff here. And they chucked that Yorion revealed. They do have a Caracas, so we're going to have to find a way around that. Grabs a Surveil land. There's nothing we can do, so we can just F6 through the turn. And got rid of a Force Negation. Okay. We do have a Faithless Looting to try to sculpt our hand a little bit. Green Sun Zenith for 1. Into a Delighted Halfling. There's the Caracas. So now we have to find a way around the Caracas. We will flashback Faithless Looting, see what we find. Another DasSourKraut. So we need them to tap down this Caracas is the problem. Well, we will chuck Underground Sea, chuck DasSourKraut, play Scalding Tarn, go grab an Underground Sea, cast the DasSourKraut, and basically just keep putting them to the test. And this does get rid of this Windswept Teeth from their hand. Yep, gonna bounce the DasSourKraut. I mean, this does slowly kill them over a bunch of turns, because we're still gonna get the initial trigger. Oh, they had a Flooded Strand in hand. Okay, at some point they must have chucked that Windswept Teeth. I wasn't paying attention. They can get Yorion, but the turn they play it, they're probably going to tap out. It's another Green Sun Zenith. Yes, Zenith for 2 for a Keen-Eyed Curator. And they're going to eat our Glasspool Mimic. That's kind of to be expected. Yeah, I think they got this one, but this was a hell of a fight. And we hit a Volcanic. Well, we will just keep slamming DasSourKraut until morale improves. This gets rid of their Yorion, at least. Oh, where did they find his Swords to Plowshares? Okay, yeah, I think this game is over. At what point did I lose track? Because they put Yorion in their hand at one point. Where did they get a Swords to Plowshares? They only had one card in hand. I'm very confused. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, this game is over now, unfortunately. But, I mean, we put up a hell of a fight. It's going to take them a couple turns to kill us, but I'm sure they just had an Uro. Apparently they had an Uro in the graveyard at some point as well. Yeah, we'll get this like another draw, and then we're going to scoop it up. But, unfortunately, they had our number here. Yeah, this 4-color Yorion pile apparently is, like, the absolute bane of our existence here. A Consider and a Brainstorm. Well, let's chuck Volcanic Island and Brainstorm, or Consider. We will Brainstorm. And opponent is fetching with their Misty? Do they have Orcish Bowmasters or something? No, Mystic Sanctuary to get what back? Swords to Plowshares? Yes. And, okay, they're eating the Faithless League out of my graveyard, okay. And we don't hit anything relevant anyways. Well, we will keep the Ponder, cast the Ponder, just see if we randomly shuffle into something that can get us out of this. We can copy their Phantasmal Image. We can copy their Uro, and then it just dies. Shuffle into a Glasspool Mimic. Okay, yeah, this deck seems like an absolute nightmare, but the fact that we're able to put up that hard of a fight against it gives me some hope there's something here. But anyways, on to the final round. Want the die roll, playing for some pity points here. I don't hate the Force of Wills. I have part of the combo here, and we've got some selection. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this, give this a shot. Hopefully our opponent's not on a Wasteland deck. They kept on 7. We will play a Raucous Theater into a Force of Will. I do not think I want that. We already got 2 of them. And that is a Wasteland. I mean, we do technically have another land, but I was banking on some red mana. Found our 4th Force of Will. Well, we will play the Glasspool Mimic and hope that we find some red mana. Plateau, okay. Ocelot Pride. We are absolutely going to say no to that. So they are energy. Unfortunately, I actually had Toxic Deluge in the sideboard for the original build of this deck, but I took them out because mid-range, this, like, energy had been dropping off of the face of the earth, and I never ran into it, and decided to free those slots up for other things. Arid Mesa. Into a Scrubland, so they're full on Mardu. Amped Raptor is fine. A Swords to Plowshares that doesn't do anything. That is totally fine. We always could just copy the Amped Raptor if we hit an untapped mana source here, but instead we hit a Tinybones Joins Up. Okay. Luckily, our opponent still has no idea what we're doing, so we'll have the advantage come sideboarding, but just gonna go Wastelanded into Oblivion. It's fine. Oh, no, they're tapping it for mana. Nope. Okay, they clicked the wrong button. Oh, they are tapping it for mana. Okay. A Guide of Souls. Okay. Into an Ajani, but they have no sacrifice outlet here. We kind of need this Phantasmal Image, so unfortunately, that's going to get to do its thing. If we don't hit red mana right away, I think we're just completely screwed here, but if we hit red mana, we can get into the zone to be able to do the thing here. That is red mana. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to last very long here, but we need to... I mean, that's everything. If they don't Wasteland us, we have a shot. We are going to chuck Phantasmal Image and Thoughtseize, I guess, and hope for the best. Cabal Therapy, good luck. You are not going to actually name anything in my hand, but you are going to be able to flash it back. Actually, hold on. We're actually going to concede before they name a card here. I don't want to show them what we're doing here, and we are not getting back from that, unfortunately. That said, what we are going to bring in here is Collective Brutalities. I think we're going to bring in Boomerang Basics. They don't know we're a graveyard deck or anything here. I think we are going to trim a couple of Glasspool Mimics and trim a couple of Reanimates because they're going to have exile-based removal mostly. So when I thought about that, like, they're not going to name anything the first time they try to name something in that hand. They don't know what we're doing, but I don't want them to see the combo and figure it out to know what to bring in. So I scooped before I could give them any more information because the chances of us getting out of that were slim to none. So let's bring this in, try this, and just hope we don't run into mana problems in game 2. All right, I don't hate this at all. We can go ahead and keep this. Hopefully our Considers find us some mana. We've got 2 halves of the combo. We're only missing the part that we have the most of. All right, Arid Mesa. A Cabal Therapy. Okay. We will let them get this one because they have no way to flash it back and we're not about to scoop up. Like, they're not going to name anything in our deck. I guarantee it. Animate Dead. Not in the deck. We mostly just want to see lands here is what this comes down to. So we will consider. Absolutely keep a land. And we had another Tinybones Joins Up, so we will go ahead and do that. And we will... Since we have another way to discard this DasSourKraut, I think we're only going to hit them. Make them discard a card. I could chuck our DasSourKraut to set up for another turn, but I don't want them to just happen to have Surgical Extraction. We get absolutely blown out by it. They always could cast something Cabal Therapy and still do that same line, but... Since we have another Tinybones Joins Up, I'm not as concerned about it. Sunbait Canyon from the opponent. Into an Ajani Nakatl Pariah. So they're going to be able to flip this with the Cabal Therapy, which is fine. They are going to Cabal Therapy. We are going to go ahead and consider now. And we hit another consider. I think we can put that in the graveyard. Collective Brutality. Okay. We'll see what they want to grab here. Because we can also always bounce that Ajani. They might just grab the Reanimate thinking that's our best way to get the DasSourKraut back, which, I mean, technically it is. Or if they name DasSourKraut, then they probably have something like a Surgical Extraction. Nope, they are grabbing the Reanimate. Okay. And making a dude off of the Ajani. That's fine. That is a Glasspool Mimic. Okay. So we could do the Tinybones Joins Up again to bin that. Or we could bounce our Tinybones Joins Up, let the Ajani stay there. Or we Collective Brutality escalated, reveal their hand, kill their cat, chuck the Glasspool Mimic, and hope for a land next turn? A Swords to Plowshares, okay. So it is a good thing we didn't just go for it there. And then if we hit a land, we can go for it next turn. And they're going to cast an Amped Raptor, okay. Oh, Containment Priest. Well, I can wait until I can try to bounce that, but I'm on a very, very slow clock here. Yeah, unfortunately, even though we're playing a Brew and we have Brewer's advantage on our side here, the format is still very, very graveyard dependent. So we could play another Tinybones Joins Up to get something out of their hand, but we are going to get killed extremely quickly here, unfortunately. Okay, they have double Goblin Bombardment, so this still doesn't even actually work. Okay, yeah, we're probably just dead here, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, rough outing. Like I said, I actually had Toxic Deluge as a sideboard card for this matchup, and then I never ran into it, so I took it out for the Collective Brutalities. Drew a land for turn. Oh, just playing the Amped Raptor, okay. But between the Ajani and what they have on board, we're going to be dead. Oh, and an Ocelot Pride? Oh, yeah, we're fucked. We're super fucked. Because I would need to get up to 4 mana to be able to do everything I needed to in one turn, and we do not have 2 more turns to try to survive this. Because that alone's 6, plus another 6. Yeah, we're at 3. We literally don't have a way out of this. Because of that Containment Priest, it shuts down our combo. If we had 1 more mana and the Containment Priest wasn't there, we'd have a shot. But yeah, unfortunately, because of this Containment Priest, and unfortunately, the Glasspool Mimic is not a token, I mean, if we somehow magically hit a way to do it, we could try. But yeah, we don't even have it there. So unfortunately, little rough ends of the league there. I will say though, overall, this deck, considering I was expecting to literally just burn play points today and lose everything just to test out a brew, this was actually kind of promising that it managed to put up a fight for the most part. But I'll review all of the footage and I will address that all in the wrap up here. But good game, opponent. Good game. So I knew going into this was going to be a rough one. This is a first draft of a convoluted combo deck, so I didn't really have very high expectations with it other than trying to do something cool. But I was actually surprised at how competitive this actually felt. Like, the record isn't very good, I'll be honest, but I was kind of expecting just to get steamrolled, and we were actually able to put up a fight pretty consistently. We could pop off in game one and get our combo pretty consistently and manage to protect it well enough, and we were definitely catching people off guard with Brewer's advantage on this one. But I think this deck might actually have some legs in lower stakes events like an FNM or a local tournament or something with a little bit of tuning. That said, don't get me wrong, this is a bad deck. Do not expect to be able to do well in something like a challenge or a larger regional tournament or something like that. But if you're looking for something that's off meta and fun and to catch your opponents off guard at a low stakes casual kind of event like an FNM, I'd say give this deck a shot. As far as the deck itself is concerned and construction, I actually think the main deck is pretty good the way that it is. We were able to find our combo and execute it really consistently in game one and be able to protect it well with our discard and our counter spells. So I think the main deck itself is actually pretty good. I will say the mana is a little wonky in the sense that there were 0 basic lands, and while I was testing, I was running into Blood Moon effects and Harbinger of the Seas and stuff like that quite a bit. So it might be worth screwing with some of the dual land numbers to get some amount of basics in here just to be able to play through that. But other than that, like I said, the main deck actually feels really solid and could probably just use a little bit of tuning around the edges. The sideboard is really where I think this deck could use some help. We saw that we were catching a ton of graveyard hate just from people having it for other decks in the meta that are reliant on the graveyard, such as Reanimator, such as the Tempo decks, stuff like that. So instead of trying to protect our game one plan and stop our opponent from executing their game plan with the sideboard, I actually think this deck would really benefit from a transformative sideboard plan that does not rely on the graveyard. So maybe we take some of our hate out of the deck and move into more of an aggro style deck with some of the better Goyfs like Pyrogoyf and Barogoyf, or possibly move into almost an initiative or a stompy style to try to play like that. Maybe have a couple of soul lands or some chrome boxes or something in the sideboard to accelerate those out. But I really do think this deck would benefit from having a sideboard juke plan that isn't reliant on the graveyard and focusing more on just changing our game plan than trying to respond to what our opponent is doing. But as I said, this was a first rough draft of the deck. I think it went really well, all things considered. Yes, the record was pretty bad, but you saw we were able to put up a fight. And other than those last 2 rounds, we were able to at least pick up 1 game in every single match. And even then, outside of the Mardu energy deck, the 4-color Yorion deck, we still managed to put up a fight and almost managed to get a game or 2 off in that one as well. But anyways, this is Carnage combo in Legacy. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I will catch you all in the next video. And as always, stay salty. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. There are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.